It was a packed house at the Hollywood Theater in Dormont when fans of Mr. Rogers donned their sweaters and came out for an advanced screening of the new documentary on the life and work of an iconic Pittsburgher. You know him, Fred Rogers. People lined up to be part of the premiere of Won't You Be My Neighbor. Mr. McFeely was also there to lead a sing-along of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood theme song. That was Tuesday night. Now everyone can get a chance to see the film that's getting rave reviews from critics and moviegoers alike. Won't You Be My Neighbor opens in theaters nationwide, and Margie Whitmer is featured in the film as producer of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Fred's longtime friend.
That make good television and do the exact opposite. You have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Low production values, simple set, unlikely star. It worked.
Margie is continuing Fred's legacy. She's currently producer of the live action segments for Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, and we are glad to have her with us this morning. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. You have to be kind of on cloud nine to see this documentary come out, to experience it. What was it like to be interviewed for it?
Well, you know, excuse me, it's one of those things that, you know, I don't do a lot of on-camera stuff, and so I'm sitting there talking in this room, and I have to say that Neville Morgan made me so comfortable. Morgan Neville, I'm sorry, made me so comfortable and in that interview. But you know, I went in, I did it, and I thought, well, that was really a wonderful experience. Never thinking that I might really be in it. You never know,
right?
Because you shoot a lot of material, and you know, sometimes it sounds great, and you thought, oh, we're going to use that, and then in the scheme of things, it just doesn't work. So I was hoping I'd be in it, of course. But
yeah. Well, so how does I don't know how that works. So talk about a man who meant so much to so many people. How do you condense those stories? How do you share that and bring that emotion back to people for something like this?
They did their homework.
Yeah.
They did so much research. I'm so impressed with how thoroughly they researched things. And so I think that they, you know, they looked at things and they just spent a lot of time finding the gems that would tell the story.
Well, and I think that soundbite that we used from the trailer just a moment ago kind of spoke to what the show was all about. You do everything that you shouldn't do, and it makes for actually a really great TV show.
Believe me, I believe that it works because what he was saying was so important.
Right.
It didn't matter what was surrounding him. Simple said.
It was just what he was talking about. How did he go about tackling some of those issues? I mean, he's talking about assassinations and divorce. And we know he wasn't just the daily interactions. He was talking about some serious things.
Well, it all begins with the fact that he really truly cared about kids, and he really thought about the insides and the depth of kids, and in terms of they're not just little adults, but they do have feelings. They do experience life at deeper levels than I think we give them credit for. Let's put it that way.
So after 9/11, Fred was asked to do a PSA. And I know that you had an interaction with him prior to that, and you could see this real human moment in him.
Yeah, I went in to get him to come down to the studio to do this, and he basically said, I just don't think this is going to do any good. I don't, you know, I just, what's the use? And I panicked, and I thought, here's this person who has nurtured us along, and I don't know if I can give him a pep talk to talk him into this. I mean, I was terrified. Right. And so, you know, I said, you've got to understand, please remember how much people care about you and how important the things you say are. And so, you know, he reluctantly went down to the studio, and we did them, and they were fine. And who would have thought that people are still using those PSAs today? Right. No, it's good that they're there. It's not so great that we have to use them so often, but thank goodness he did them.
You know, one of my favorite things, and being in the news business, we see this so often, but one of my favorite things that he said was the quote from his mother, that you find the helpers.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things that he said, that when there's something bad, you can always look around and find the people who are helping.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful way to inspire hope.
Right, it really is, in times of need. So what surprised you most when you were watching the documentary?
Well, there's a time when he stopped doing Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in 1975, and he did another series for adults called Old Friends, New Friends, and then he stopped because the neighborhood, because he thought he'd really done everything he could do. And then there was a rash of kids who were dressing up like Superman and thinking that they could fly, little kids, and they died because they jumped off places too high. And he thought, I do have things to say, but the thing that got me was he really was doubting whether he could do it again. And he sat down and he wrote this, at the typewriter, kind of typed out his feelings, and he was almost saying, who do I think I am that I can do this again? And it never occurred to me that he went through such turmoil, but he really thought through everything. And so for me to understand that part of it, I mean, I knew he stopped and he did something else, and then he decided that there was more to do, but that he was so torn about being able to do it again.
Marky, sometimes we don't realize the impact of things when we're right in the middle of it. Did you realize that impact when you were producing the show all those years?
I think on some intellectual level, but you know, it was more about let's get this done. Time is money. You know,
Right.
we need to get this
Right.
done.
Right.
And you know, we all were like, oh, we have to hear this song one more time. And even Fred said, I don't want to sing it today. Sometimes, but you know, I didn't really know the ramifications of what was going on.
I hate to ask such an obvious question, but I think it needs to be asked. But his messages are so relevant today, aren't they?
They really are. And I think because of the climate of our country, we're more aware of it. I think if this film had come out at another time, we still would have. These are evergreen messages. These are things that are tried and true, or you know, that we all experience all the time. But it's just it's the timing was perfect on this in terms of helping people stand back and think about kindness.
And what do you want people to take away from the film when they see it?
That Fred was an extraordinary human being, but aren't we all? And he just happened to be in the limelight. And he's a human being. You know, we all have flaws and we all have many, many good points. So I think that I like that this film is so true to him and honest, and that we all have that kindness that he spent his whole life trying to spread.
But working so intimately with him, what do you think about Tom Hanks portraying him? Do you see it? Can you see it?
I can. When our executive director said to me, you know, they're going to announce this film today, so I just wanted you to know in case people call you. He said, who do you think's going to play Fred? And I thought for a minute, and I thought, well, who kind of looks like him, and who's kind of a nice guy? And I said, I don't know, Tom Hanks.
So you guessed it before.
But it was just, you know,
Yeah.
it was just all I could think of at the moment.
On the fly.
So I think he'll do a good job. I hope so.
Yeah, well, very interesting to see how that film turns out, but I am so excited to see the documentary, and don't miss it. It is very moving. Won't You Be My Neighbor, celebrating Fred Rogers and his creation of a neighborhood that influenced a generation of children and adults. It's opening nationwide today. Locally, you'll find it at the Manor Theater in Squirrel Hill, in the AMC Waterfront in Homestead for now, and expanding to other theaters later. It's rated PG-13.